on. Thanks, Evan. I'm Randy. I'm muted. Hi. I got it. I'm not muted. I'm Randy and I'm an alcoholic. Really grateful to be here with you today, as usual. I love Wednesdays, my favorite day of the week. So the reason that I'm here today is because I'm an alcoholic, which means I've become allergic to alcohol. I can never ever drink alcohol successfully. I break out in weird allergies like blackouts and car crashes and trouble in all of my relationships and losing jobs. Um, but and so that means I can never ever drink alcohol successfully again. And there's a treatment for that. If you're allergic to alcohol, you just don't drink today, no matter what, and that's it. So you can all go home now. Wouldn't it be great if I could just stop drinking alcohol and all my troubles went away and I could just go home? But that's not my story, and that's not what's happened for me. When I stopped drinking, the alcoholism, the disease that centers in my mind, became very, very, very loud. And for me, alcoholism is an unsatisfiable, fault-finding, opinionated mind. And it's coupled with an infantile ego that's always in a hurry, is easily frustrated, and can't stand the word no. And I say that right now to remind me of what I have, not for you. I am not here today for any of you. That doesn't mean I don't love you guys, and I wish I could be there in the room with you, but I am here because I have alcoholism, and my alcoholism needs a treatment, and part of that treatment is the 12th step, where I am compelled to carry the message of Alcoholics Anonymous. In order for me to stay in the program of recovery for my life. That's why I'm here today. I'm not here to teach you anything, and I'm not here to be an authority for AA. I'm just here to tell you about my life and what I do today and share my program with you, my experience with you. And so I'm going to do that. So in how it works, we're kind of talking about step 4 today. In how it works, it says those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. So I'm not a cannot. A cannot is someone who has a wet brain. And even some of them get better when they stop putting alcohol in their systems, and the wet brain, what looks like a wet brain, goes away, and they have recovery. But I'm a will not. I'm in the category of the people who will not completely give themselves to this simple program. And the reason I won't do it is because it's not because I don't want to. I want to have recovery. But the reason I will not completely give myself to this simple program is because I am constitutionally incapable of being honest with myself. And the 4th step is where I start to really take a look at myself and who I am and who I've been and why I have all the resentments I have and why I blame everybody and everything outside of me for all of my troubles. And then in the 5th step, I share it with another human being so they can see the insanity of my rationale behind all of my resentments and all of my bad behavior. And so that they can point out and help me to see my delusions and my fears. The resentments, I look at my resentments, but I look at my resentments because I need to know what are the delusions that drive those resentments. My character defects are my delusions and my fears. My character defects are not my resentments. So in step 4, I start writing down on paper everyone I hate. It's beautiful. It's the best part of the whole program. I finally get to put on paper who I hate and why I hate you. And I get to write down everything that everyone ever did to me that I can be mad about. And man, I got a great list. I resent everybody. Everybody, even, you know, the guy that looked at me funny on the tube. I hate that guy. And I hate him forever because my mind told me a story about why that guy looked at me like that. And then my mind tells me a story about why I didn't stand up for myself and fight that guy. Even though he didn't say anything, he just looked at me funny. And my mind has an idea about why I should have fought that guy. And then my mind tells me about why I'm so weak and vulnerable and why this world is such a scary place and how everything never works out for me and why I should kill myself. So that's kind of how my mind works. I hope you don't have my mind, but I have a feeling that if you're in this room, you might have what I have. You might. So the goal of the four step. So that's the first half of the four step, and it's very fulfilling to write a list of my mom and everything my mom ever did to me, and my dad and everything my dad ever did to me, and my girlfriends and how all my girlfriends were wrong, and it's just great. And I write all that down. And then I have to do something a little weird, and I have to start seeing my part in it. What part did I play in it? What part did I play in it? And that's very challenging for an alcoholic like me because I'm constitutionally incapable of being honest with myself. So I can't really see the part I play, and I need help to see that. And that's what's great about the four step is that there's a method, there's a way to do it. And I do the four step exactly out of the book. It says resentment is the number one offender. It destroys more alcoholics than anything else. Resentment gets more alcoholics to drink than anything else. From resentment stem all forms of spiritual disease. For I have not only been mentally and physically ill, I have been spiritually sick. So that's something to think about. You know, this meeting, it says in the format, I think somewhere, that this meeting wasn't started to just have another meeting. It was started to have a place where I could come to start to connect spiritually to something other than myself, to be reminded that what I need here is I don't do this on my own. In step one, I admit complete defeat, that on my own power, I'm a complete defeat, that I can't do anything in this world and be at peace with my mind, the way my mind talks to me. I can drive my car, I can tie my shoes, I can eat breakfast. But while I'm doing those things, my mind is talking to me, and it's making me very restless, irritable, and discontent because it's finding fault with everybody and everything, and it's energizing all my opinions, and it's unsatisfiable no matter what I get, even if I get the breakfast, exactly the breakfast I want your breakfast also. uh, so there's something wrong with me. And and alcohol is not what's wrong with me. And I get to admit complete defeat. And then I find that even that is impossible. I can't do it. I want to admit complete defeat. I want to be surrendered. I want to accept life exactly the way it is so that I can enjoy this moment, but I can't do it. And that's when I stand ready to do anything which will lift my merciless obsession, I walk into step two. And right now, in this moment, right now, I start coming to believe that a power greater than myself can restore me to sanity. And I start coming to believe that by doing what it says at the end of the second step, by rightly relating myself to my higher power. So, God, I'm in a room with a bunch of alcoholics, and there's some guy on the TV talking to me. Could you help me be here in this room? Could you help me have an experience with you right now? Could you protect me from my mind? Because if you're like me, you're sitting there and you're having all kinds of stories going on in your head right now about who does this guy think he is? Why does he get to talk every Wednesday? What the hell am I doing here? This is stupid. I should be outside having fun. Why am I sitting next to this person? They're too fidgety. And a whole conversation going on. And I leave the room. I drive all the way here. I go through the trouble of finding a parking spot, walk into the meeting, sit down, and I do what I always do, which is talk to myself. But what's being offered is an opportunity right now. Power, could you be with me? Could you help me? Could you help me have a new experience at this meeting? Even if you've been here a million times, right now is the first time you've ever been right here, right now, right now. And I get to have an experience. And that's all that matters. Everything I'm going to say is nonsense. None of it matters. What matters is that I'm having a relationship right now with my higher power. That's all that matters. At the end of the first step, it says, driven under the lash of alcoholism, I'm driven to AA. And there I learned the fatal nature of my disease. This disease wants to kill me. And then I become as open-minded to conviction and as willing to listen as the dying could be. Well, I can't listen on my own power. I have to ask a power greater than me to help me hear what's being said right now. And when I do that, I have an experience. Something new happens. I actually hear something that's said. When people are laughing, I know what they're laughing about because I heard the joke. I'm not just laughing because everyone else is laughing. And I'm having an experience right now with my higher power. And then I can make a decision, right? In step 3, I can make a decision that I want to turn my will and my life over to the care of this God as I understood him. Because I've had some experience coming to the meeting and asking this power to be with me and then taking it out into the street and asking the power to be with me. And whenever I do that, I seem to get this peace. And I seem to intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle me. And I have a different experience. So now I can make a decision. Do I want my experience, which is always finding fault and being unsatisfied and always in a hurry and always irritable? Or do I want to share my life with this power and have a little peace right here, right now, no matter what's going on? And that's a decision I can make. When I make that decision, I want to go deeper into this relationship with this power. I want to see what my delusions are and what my fears are. Because this is not we're not going to restore ourselves to sanity in AA. It seems like it should say in step 4, I wrote down all my resentments. I saw where I was wrong. And now I know a lot more about myself. I shared all that stuff that I learned about myself with another person and with God and with myself. And then step 6 should say, now that I know a lot more about me, I act better. And I don't need a power to help me. But step 6 says, now that I know all of this stuff about me, now I'm willing to go deeper into this relationship with my higher power and let God remove my defects of character. Isn't that amazing? So the 4th step isn't to uncover who I am so I don't have to be that way anymore on my power. It's to uncover who I am so that I'm more willing to go to a higher power and go deeper into that decision to turn my will and my life, my thoughts and my actions over to the care of God as I understood him. Step 6 is really step 3 when I know who I am. When I'm constitutionally capable of being honest with myself because I practiced as a way of life, step 4 and step 5 in my life. And a new character is being built, and the new character can see how it's acting in the day that it's in. Isn't that amazing? I think that's amazing. In step 4, it says what we read in this room, one of the readings. I review my fears thoroughly. I put them on paper, even though I had no resentment in connection with them. I ask myself, why do I have these fears? I actually have to do that. I have to write a list of fears, and then I have to ask myself why I have each one of those fears. And at the end of each one of those fears, I can see the reason that I have that fear is because I don't believe that there's a higher power. And if I do believe there's a higher power, I don't believe that my higher power has anything to do with me personally or cares anything about my life. And so the reason that I have these fears is because self-reliance has always failed me. And if self-reliance is always going to fail me and there is no higher power, then there's surely nowhere for me to go for help. It says self-reliance was good as far as it went, but it didn't go far enough. Some of us, like myself, have had great self-confidence at times, but that didn't fully solve the fear problem either. When it made me cocky, which was most of the time I had self-confidence, I became cocky, it was worse. It was worse because it forced me to push everyone and everything out of my life. And then it says, perhaps there's a better way. I think so, for I am now on a different basis, the basis of trusting and relying upon God. Not understanding and believing in God. That does not help me one bit. Understanding and believing in God does not help me one bit. I have to trust and rely on God for everything in my life. When I trust infinite God rather than my finite self, I find myself in the world to play the role that God assigns, that He assigns. So just to the extent that I do as I think He would have me and humbly rely on Him, does He enable me to match calamity with serenity. So this is an instruction for my life. Alcoholics Anonymous is a way of life where drinking isn't necessary. That kind of ties back into where I started. If all you had to do was not drink and just go to meetings and not drink one day at a time and you become a winner, power to you. I'm so happy for you. Then the program works. In my life, when I stopped drinking, my life got terrible. It first got great. For about a year, it got really good. And then as time passed, I became more and more unsatisfied with the life that I had sober. And got to a place where I wanted to kill myself sober. So what I had to find was a way of life where I could live in the world that I'm in, where I could start to trust and rely upon a higher power for my life, for my intuition, for my guidance, for my everything. And in doing that, I have a life now where drinking isn't necessary. I'm no longer restless, irritable, and discontent all the time. I can sit in a room and listen to someone speak, and I'm looking forward to doing that now. So that's enough out of me. I'd love to hear your experience with step 4 or steps 1, 2, and 3, and how you're living this thing in your life. Because this is about what you're doing in your life today, to have that experience of a higher power, to coming to believe that a power greater than yourself can restore you to sanity. And if you're not doing that, then you can talk about how insane your life is. And if you are doing it, you can talk about the results you're having. And then we can all grow spiritually, because I need to hear about the success of this program just as much as everybody else, so that I get motivated to go deeper, to go for more. Thank you for letting me share.